Welcome to Lead Follow, a podcast for pastors and leaders, hosted by MCUSA Executive Director Glenn Guyton. Join Glenn as he talks to folks across the denomination to help equip today's leaders who are leading while following Jesus.
Hello, I'm Glenn Guyton, and during this season of Lead Follow, we'll be exploring ways to engage with youth and young adults, from Gen Alpha to Gen Z. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Jeanette, Lahm, and Corbin, who will be discussing how do we encourage spiritual growth through faith-based camping. How y'all doing today?
Great.
All
Very
right.
good. Glad
Thank
to have
you.
us.
Thank you. Good to have you here. Well, I want to tell the people a little bit about you. Jeanette is the executive director at the Laurelville Retreat Center in Pennsylvania, and is also the president of the board of directors for the Mennonite Camping Association. She holds a bachelor's degree in recreation and communication from St. Cloud State University. Corbin is the executive director of Rocky Mountain Mennonite Camp in Colorado and former program director at Camp Friedenswald in Michigan. He holds a bachelor's degree in business administration and accounting from Bethel College. All right. Well, I've been to both of the places that you all work at, and I don't have a degree in recreation, but I like to have fun. So maybe those are some similarities that we have. But I'm going to start with you, Jeanette. This is my question, and then we start off every interview with, but if you were to give advice to your 13-year-old self, what would that be?
Well, that's a funny question. So, Corbin and I just finished with a Mennonite Camping Association conference. So, he heard this story from me just a little bit ago. It's funny. This is something we kind of pondered in our circles. But I think about Jeremiah 29. So I have a plan and a purpose for you. So when I was interested in or working at a YMCA camp years ago, looking out over the St. Croix River in Hudson, Wisconsin, I felt like God was tapping me and telling me that you will be doing work like this, camp work like this. And so I would tell my 13-year-old self, looking back in hindsight, really to be paying attention and to listen for God's voice, because it would have, there would be some wisdom there that might be pointing me in my future and leading and guiding me along the way. So I would tell myself to listen intently and clearly, because God's voice would have some impact on my current self.
Okay, all right. And so that's kind of amazing, though. You were at a camp, and now you're in camping, and you felt like God was speaking to you. That's wonderful. That's great. I won't tell you what I was doing at 13 years old at camp, because that probably wouldn't fit my current role. But God bless you, and that you heard God at that point. I heard my camp counselor screaming at me because I was doing things I had no business doing at the time. But good for you. All right, Corbin, same question for you.
Yeah, delightful question. So I would probably just tap on myself and remind the wisdom from Matthew 6:25-34. The topic is do not worry. So I think I was just looking forward to wondering what that next thing was. I was wondering what might happen. But what great guidance in terms of just living each day to the fullest. Those will be the building blocks of that future that you're wondering about. So take care of today, be present, and that's the guidance we give our staff when they show up, even today. Be present in today.
All right. Well, hey, look, I love camping, and I think camping is underrated. I spent pretty much every summer when I was growing up in the church at camp. I was a 5-timer, so I went to Camp Choye, which was a Presbyterian camp, and I was a 5-timer, so I got a free T-shirt or something for going to camp 5 times in a row. And then every winter we would have a winter conclave where we would go to camp for a couple of days, and I love that experience. And I tell people, I think one of the reasons that I'm in church and ministry now is because of church camp. That is really formational. So it's I don't know what's going on in 2024 with camping, but Corbin, I'm gonna start with you. But yeah, what's your experience with how families and Christian families are participating in camp now? Is it still something that's popular, or is it harder to get campers?
I know it's still a very nice opportunity to get together either as a family or individually, whether it be retreats or summer camps. It's just a space and place to have a change of scenery, to have a change of mindset, and just to put a perspective on maybe what's going on in the normal day and effort. So it's been real encouraging to see that excitement and delight when coming to visit.
All right. Well, Jeanette, and two, as you reflect back, I asked you about your 13-year-old self. So think back to what camping was like back then. What about now? Like, are there some challenges with getting kids to come to camp now? Something that you think maybe just stands out as different from when you were growing up?
Well, I think my lens is different, right? So I was there as a young camper, and then at the age 14 would have joined the staff as an assistant program person. So my lens is different between now and then, but I think God is still using camp in the same ways. So I was what we used to call, and maybe this term still exists, but a Christmas and Easter kid. So
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't get to church on a regular basis, but God really met me at camp. So, and I see that happening today. I see our day camp kids who are coming into camp as a camp experience, sometimes just as a childcare experience,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that God's about to rock their worlds and show up in ways and meet them here and learn to that the people would learn who God is. So that's still happening today, and that's from my lens. It's a place from my heart.
Mm-hmm.
God uses camp to reach people who otherwise might not be reached.
Yeah, and Glenn, when you mentioned challenges and barriers,
Yeah.
I would just say the menu is long. There's opportunities, whether it's be athletics or
Uh-huh.
uh, different leagues that you're part of, and so you're really having to make a choice. Not that summer camp is kind of the one thing we're looking
Right.
forward to. It's do we fit it in, and what is our level of commitment to those other things? And if I lose that week, just going to camp, so it's fun to hear the stories when kids step out, but those challenges are certainly there, just with the amount of different opportunities that are out there.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correctly, like part of the challenge nowadays is just the busyness of kids. All of the options that they have. I know I'm trying to think if I missed out on much when I went to summer camp. I don't know. My parents just put me on the Trailways bus. I, I got on a bus and rode from Houston to Livingston, Texas. I mean, it was a couple of
Oh,
hours,
wow.
but yeah, they just put me on a bus and uh, off I went to camp. So I
That's
was
awesome.
again, I was excited about going because I wanted to get I had like a little stick that I had made. I would take to camp every year and I would carve out a new notch every time I went. So
Awesome.
when I got that 5-time camper shirt, I was so proud. So but as you think about that, the busyness that kids have, and I don't know what your cell phone policy is at camp, but how do you, yeah, what's if I was a parent? I am a parent. My kids are old now, but if I was a parent of a teenager going to camp for the first time, like what would be your advice to help me prepare for that experience? And Corbin, I'll let you go first this time.
Okay, so I would just say it's helpful if camp isn't like some very unique unicorn. We're hoping that kids have a nurturing, caring home, a nurturing, caring church and community, so that in their coming they can just build on those experiences and events. But we also know some kids don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have that, and so it can be very much a mountaintop experience, or it might be their church experience for the year. So in terms of preparing, obviously, we want to build on what and meet kids where they're at, and then build upon that. so that their experience at camp is a good one. And then when they return home, they take that good experience and can share it in their home or in their church or in their school, and practice those lessons that they've acquired, and share the joy that they've experienced while being at camp.
Okay, and Jeanette, what do you think about that?
Well, you mentioned the screens for one thing. So I think, we put our policies out there. Kids know what they're walking into. They don't love to get the screens up, right? Aren't we all within an arm's length of these gadgets?
Yeah.
Our
And
screens
do you have a no screen policy at camp?
We do. We do.
All right.
Yeah, we sure do. And it's fantastic. Camp is about removing the distractions. So
Yeah.
God can really, really do the work, because once it's those distractions, the everyday distractions that get in the way, or can slow down faith development. So I think for us, and for parents, you ask about how to prepare, physically showing up with rain gear.
Okay.
Some days are wet.
Uh-huh.
Being ready to accept muddy clothes back home. When the kids come home, they're going to have a suitcase full of dirty clothes if we've done our jobs well. So,
Okay.
And just to know that we've got the kiddos. We're all about, of course, keeping kids safe and making sure it's a fun, enriching environment where they can grow, and to allow this space and place. I think you said, Corbin, I'm not quite sure how you said that, but yeah, we're allowing the space for new experiences, so they can grow and develop, not only in their faith, but physiologically and all that good stuff too.
Yeah. And so with those experiences and creating that space, I think, Corbin, you mentioned that you want to build upon the good work of the churches or the faith community that they have. But what do you do, Corbin, when you have, again, kids that maybe don't have that spiritual background, that I don't know, maybe they just show up for camp for, I don't know what reason they would, maybe they come with a friend or something. But what do you do about those kids that really don't have that foundation? Like what has been your experience in that case?
Right. So you get to experience sometimes the aha moments. Like
Okay.
I remember from family camp, a camper just hearing one of the Bible stories that was shared, and that was the first time. And so they were like, "Well, this is cool."
Yeah.
Right. So someone who hasn't experienced it at all, or it might be someone again who's like, "This is foreign," or
Yeah.
"This is new." And so just walking with that camper wherever they find themselves, and just having them share what their experiences have been, and then getting a taste of what it looks like. Because at camp, boy, the unique pieces, right? We can go to church on Sunday mornings or whenever it is. We can have we go to school for a certain set hours, but camp is 24/7.
It
So
is.
you kind of morning, noon, and night. You get that lesson, but then I might need to practice that lesson, and when I'm at my best, and see people when they're at their most challenged, and all those moments in between. So that really is a unique piece that whatever that background is, we get to experience that with each other, right? And it's kind of a full transparency
Yeah.
of walking our journeys, and then hearing that other story. For that kid that doesn't experience what another camper, they get a little window into their life and how unique and different theirs is individually and back and forth. And that's pretty inspirational to just know that interchange is happening at a cabin level and interpersonally with each other.
Yeah. And so what makes camp so, I don't know, special like that, where kids, I mean, I found that I was a youth pastor for a number of years, and just kids seem to be more receptive at camp versus, when they're at the youth group. Jeanette, why do you think that is? Like, what is it? What's so special about camp?
Right. Well, it's the secret sauce.
It's the
Maybe
secret
we can't
sauce.
tell you. I think part of it is that everyone is on the same playing field, right? We
Okay.
all are in bunk beds. We all are sleeping on the same 3-inch foam mattress. We all are experiencing the same meal. We're all so it's common. You're all going through the high ropes or low ropes course together. It's experiencing life together with a community, and doing it together, whether it's worship or Bible study or walking through the creek together or swimming or camping out, whatever that is, it's a common shared experience. And when you're able to bond in a community like that on a level playing field, there's something special about it where it, yeah, and our camp counselors are excellent, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're professionals in developing youth and helping bond teams where a kiddo might not have a great school experience going
Right.
on. And we are so intentional about building relationship, that I think that's sort of our secret sauce.
Yeah, and
A
you
little
you
bit of it, yeah.
yeah, and you mentioned too, like the muddy clothes and
Yeah.
the cabin experience. I don't know what you said, that Corbin, the cabin experience, but yeah, I kind of like that what you said about kind of this common ground. And two, I think you do all have to kind of let your guard down at camp, right? You're
Oh,
all
yeah.
kind of a little stinky, a little dirty, a little tired, and maybe for these kids, maybe it's one of the times, and maybe it was like this too back when I was a kid, but you can let your guard down, right? You're not the star athlete, you're not the pretty girl, the popular guy, all of these things. You're just another dirty, messy camper, right? And we're all sitting around the same smoky campfire. Hopefully no one's catching on fire. I think someone
Yeah.
at my camp caught on fire, but I mean they didn't die or anything. We put them out. But and this was the 80s, 80s kids, we did things like that. But it's those experience, right? You mentioned the rope courses, walking through the creek. And I don't know what background your kids come from, but me, I was a city kid. So being out in nature was, it was a little bit of a different experience for me. And so a new experience, and getting to go through that with some of my friends, my city friends, and sometimes being there by myself, it's really transformative. So as you think about, let's go to you, Corbin. Think about some of the stories. Maybe what are some of the maybe give me one story of transformation that happened at camp that you'd like to share with the audience today.
Yeah. I think the one that floats to me frequently is this cabin discussion about respecting each other, whether counselors or fellow campers and whatnot. And so it was a guy's cabin that came back, and we were just talking about who they really liked, someone on the other side or whatever.
Okay.
And so the conversation got helpfully steered towards, not objectifying, but of appreciating who that person is. And so, those comments that might be normally said at school, there's a little bit of an insight into, oh, hey, she has a really nice personality, or something like that, where it's just keeping that focus. And again, that morning, noon, and night experience. We're not just putting on our best faces and friends. It's
Right.
all day long. And so when those conversations come up, to have good and genuine conversations in the cabin about how we care for each other, how that comes out in our actions, and how that plays out with our words, to do that. So I just appreciate those real life,
Yeah.
opportunities and chat that come up.
Yeah, and I know that because I've been in a guy's cabin, right? That's what and someone's always in love at camp. We always fall in love with camp, and we're gonna talk to this person forever. But it's great to have that context, right? I know you mentioned, Jeanette, the leaders, right? To have men and women of God there that can kind of lead you and guide those discussions in a different way, right? That they could lead to objectification and unhealthy conversations. But I found out that some of those conversations that we had, at camp were really helpful, in getting to hear from some of these older guys and helping you as a young teenager to process some of these things in that more of a Christian controlled camp setting were very helpful to me. I mean, I've gotten to process a lot of tough things about even who I was and my identity in a different way at camp than I would have
Sure.
done it at home in the gym with the guys. So,
Yeah.
Jeanette, what's your story of transformation that you want to share?
Well, I think about, I believe it was 2 summers ago, we had, and we always run into this, that we don't have enough male counselors. So that's
Oh,
often a challenge.
what's going on, man? Hold on, let's stop. What's going on, men, male counselors?
Yeah,
We're gonna stop right now. We need more male camp counselors.
yeah,
So if you're watching this,
yeah,
men, step up. I need
yeah.
you to go to Rocky Mount Camp or go to Laurelville. They need counselors. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good on
Thanks.
you.
All right.
And all of our MCA camps. So wherever
Yes.
you live, don't you worry. There's an MCA camp in your background.
All right. Men, we
In
need
your
you to step
backyard.
up.
There you go. So I think about this fellow. So typically we try and have camp counselors. They're youth of faith, right? So
Yep.
they're professed Christians. So we were struggling, didn't have enough male camp counselors, and we took a chance with a boy from our kitchen who
Okay.
we knew would be a great counselor. He'd like to have fun with the kids, and he would be working with another counselor. There are 2 counselors for each cabin.
Okay.
I thought, we see a spark in him. We think he could do really well. Well, guess what? Guess who gave his life to the Lord?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, I think that is probably one of the biggest transformational stories I can think of in the last couple of years. Where, I mean, now he comes to our Sunday youth gatherings.
Oh,
He
wow.
helps mentor kids throughout the year. But I mean,
Yeah.
when we think ministry is just for the campers,
It's not.
it is
Yeah.
not. It is for the staff. I mean, we're doing
Very
ministry
true.
with our staff all day long.
Yeah.
And think about what 1 week does for a camper. I mean, I
Yeah.
get goosebumps. So what
Yeah.
1 week does for a camper, imagine a young person anywhere from age 14 to 24. I mean,
Yeah.
typically they've aged out, or maybe they're a director by then. Think about the transformation that happens
Yeah.
when you're immersed in it all summer long, sometimes summer after summer after summer. I mean,
Right.
some of us were products of that, right? So
Right.
that to me is just transformation.
We'll
God
say,
is
Glenn,
real.
Yeah. Go ahead, Corbin.
well, we'll just say, yeah, with great responsibility comes great privilege and back and forth. And so what's really cool to share with our staff is to say, you get to be somebody, you have the opportunity to be someone's hero. They're looking
Yeah.
up to you kind of for who you are already. But then in your actions, in your words, how we care for people, you have the opportunity to be that hero. And it's a privilege, but it's also a responsibility in that 24/7. Oh,
Yeah.
here's how I am at my best, and here's how I am at my worst, and all those moments in between. So it's a humbling experience for all of us to be in that role,
All right.
to be that role model for the next generation.
So there you hear it from Corbin. If you want to be like Spider-Man, be a camp counselor, right? I think that was a Spider-Man movie reference there. But you could be someone's hero. But hey, Jeanette, I got goosebumps when you were telling that story. That camp. We were talking about youth and young adults, but it really can transform young leaders. The participation in that. So even as I think about young adults, and I know as a young leader, I was given opportunity first to probably do ministry at camps where I brought in the younger kids. Camp for my group was a rite of passage. I couldn't wait from the time when I started off going to camp at church. I was one of the younger kids going, and eventually I was one of the older kids. I could show the other kids the ropes. I showed them, this is how you break into the dorm and take all the girls' stuff out of the cabin. I couldn't wait to do that, right? But in addition, I couldn't wait till I had the opportunity to be a leader. There were some fun things that we did, but just the opportunity to be a leader and to see well, to pass on those experiences to the younger kids, to say, hey, this is important.
Yeah.
And really, again, I'll say it again. I don't think I would be a leader in Mennonite Church USA had not it been
Mhm.
for camp. Of course, I went to a Presbyterian camp, but still, those
That's okay.
lessons, those stories that I got, I still tell them. The songs that I sang around the campfire, I still remember them. I remember my early camp counselors and the things that they shared, the lessons that they taught me. And I'll give you a quick story as we get ready to close. But one of the things that I decided going to a Presbyterian camp, I was often the only black kid at the camp. It wasn't a lot of black Presbyterians where I was. And so I was the only black kid. And one day I just kind of looked around and I said, hey, these people all know me, but is it just because I'm black? I said, well, if they're going to know me, they're going to know me because I'm a leader. And I promise you that decision that I made as a young kid at camp is a lesson that I've carried out throughout my life. That Glenn, if people are going to know you, you're going to be a leader, and they're going to know you because of the skills and gifts that you bring to the table. So thank you, camp people, for the environment and allowing us to figure out who we are. So as we close, a quick question for each of you. Corbin, what's the biggest reason parents should send their kids to camp?
For their opportunity, everyone's opportunity, kids, young adults, for their opportunity to experience joy. And you get to experience joy, with fellow campers and staff, with play and recreation, in God's creation, and experiencing the elements firsthand, if it's raining or if it's
The
muddy
elements.
or whatever it is. And then just the worship stories and singing, how much that campfire singing or it's just part of the joy of that experience, and with memories that last a lifetime.
All right, that's why I play the guitar now, is because of the impression that they had on me at camp. All right, Jeanette.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's transformative. We already used that word, right? But it's true. It's transformative. Whether you're learning more about yourself and all that you can do and what your gifts are. What you can learn at camp is just goes beyond any classroom. It goes beyond the Sunday school room.
Mm-hmm.
We can be silly together. It's just a space where people can be real and they can be loved for who they are. And we teach them whose they are and how they are loved by God. So send your kids to camp. You will be amazed with the stories they come home. Overlook the stinky, dirty socks. It'll be worth it.
Yes. Overlook those things. Yeah, and I know hopefully they come back with some good stories and transformational stories.
After a nap.
After a
nap. Let them have a quick nap and then
a quick nap. Okay, all right. And so well, too, as I think about this, so we know that you need male camp counselors, right? We know you need that. But are there any other specific ways that maybe churches can help congregations? We talked about parents, but how can congregations help with this camping experience? Corbin, I'll let you start.
Yeah, I would just join in any way we can create, the ways we can create community. So when we create community at church, that just becomes a part of a normal routine, so that going to church or youth group or whatever is just part of their norm, and going to camp is part of their norm. And if there's conferences, on a national level or regional, or whether it's our schools or our colleges, right, be a part of those activities that are going on. And that helps, I think, just create that community growth. And then that you miss that when those aren't present. So,
right.
But it does take energy, and you do have to go through the calendar and say, this is a priority. This is pushed a little bit lower. But I think this, especially after coronavirus, community is just fills the soul when that wasn't present.
Yeah. Jeanette, do you have anything to add?
Camp or churches, if you can help us by telling your students about camps that are around you. Certainly a lot of us are affiliated with our local churches, and the ones who come behind, say the kids who come to our camp, they're actually sponsoring them. So if there are ways to support monetarily, our work is to support the work of the church in that we're creating some of those healthy spaces and um, sharing the gospel and furthering faith development in ways that are really, we hope, ingraining stories, ingraining curiosity in faith development that can just be furthered in the church. So our work is one that parallels, and we, churches can come alongside of us by inviting themselves to the camp circles too, if they haven't already. And I know Corbin's camp and our camp, certainly we have regular partnering with some of our local churches. So we love it. Keep doing it.
All right. I think that's an important partnership. And two, I know we had the delegate assembly for Mennonite Church USA. And one of the things that people were really concerned about when we were trying to change the convention cycle was, what are the kids going to do? Send them to camp. Can Mennonite Church USA help us program for the kid? Send them to camp. It's a whole industry out there, a whole campus association that's doing great work. And Jeanette, since you are the president, executive director?
I'm actually past president, so I've
president.
I've handed my hat off.
Okay.
But yeah, there and Corbin has held that hat before too. We take turns.
Okay, well, you all have some influence, and I'm telling you today on this podcast that we do want to have a strong partnership, Mennonite Church USA, with the Camping Association. We're probably a little bit more intentional about this in the past, but it's something that I think is important, especially as people are looking for additional programming. You know, my thing is that we have the convention one year, and then the off year. It's a perfect. Well, you can actually go both years, but again, I know that summer in between, there are a lot more opportunities for people to do things, and I think camp should be a regular part of that. They can get the big national convention experience and then go to camp on off year. I think there are ways that we can think about being a little bit more intentional about promoting the benefits of camping as a part of the regular routine of these youth groups, and you all serve a broader age group too. Younger kids can go to camp as well as some of the older kids. So there are some opportunities out there. Conference leaders, churches, Glenn Guyton and his staff don't have to do everything. We have regional opportunities, camps in multiple regions. So there's a camp, I'm sure, that is really close by that you can support. You can send those kids. Let me give you this plug too. As a parent, hey, what am I going to do? You could probably send your camps for the cost of the extra snacks that you have to buy in the summer when kids are at the house. So get your kids out of the house, send them to camp, let them get closer to Jesus, let them get to act out their faith. Camp is a great place to do that. Physical growth, testing some of their physical limits, right? At the confidence course. And it's called the confidence course, right? Because they can develop some skills, some trust. They can do some things that they never probably thought that they could do in a safe, controlled environment, right? Camp is perfect for testing those limits. I'm a big advocate for camp, but Jeanette and Corbin, thank you so much for joining me. Any parting words, last words?
Well, I have heard it said that kids grow in their faith development in dog years. So for instance, 1 year of human life equals 7 years of dog years. I don't know if that's true, but 1 week of camp is like 7 dog years. So come on to camp.
All right.
Big development.
All right.
And I would just say joining together, creating community in our homes and our churches and our communities and our camps. It's a powerful thing.
All right. Thank you both. So for the latest news and events from Mennonite Church USA, please subscribe to Peacemail, our weekly email newsletter at mennonite.org/peacemail. And the links will be in the description. We also ask that you prayerfully consider supporting the ongoing work of Mennonite Church USA's ministries at mennoniteusa.org/give, and also support your camps. So go to camp. Also, guys, I need you to step up and support the wonderful programs there at camp. Thank you all so much. You all have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Glenn.
Bye-bye.